Huh?
There's no audience. This isn't part of the show. Like,
He's telling us to get us in the
Yes.
mood.
oh, okay. Oh, okay. Yes.
This is
that's
foreplay.
It. Right. This is it. Yeah, he's taken off his clothes and prepping his leather chair.
What?
Welcome down to the abyssal lair of the Radiophonic Sea Creatures. Grab your wallet and hold it real tight because I, Tokyo Choo Choo, am going to be your host today. And with me, as always, are two men who would ass rape you for a piece of grilled crab. It's Human Metal and Brack. How are you guys?
I don't even like crab.
That's even worse because you still ass rape someone for it. So, how are you today, Brack?
I'm doing really good. Yeah.
And anything?
That's it. Like nothing special is happening in my life. But
Tutu, I think you have to explain that opening because otherwise this is going to be an inside joke that no one of the audience gets.
Oh yeah, well I went to India recently and I basically got arse raped. Well, arse raped is if like my wallet was my arse. I definitely got wallet raped. Yeah, so if you go to India, be careful because they will, if they see you as a tourist, they will definitely trap you somehow. I got trapped many times, repeatedly, and basically got swindled out of so much money. They say India is a cheap company. So my advice, if you are going to India, just avoid anybody that actually comes to you and offers anything. Like even Glenn Ross style.
Even sex.
If they open up,
especially sex.
yeah, especially sex, because most of the people that come to the like old-aged fucking tuk-tuk drivers. So we're gonna start the shadows. We've somehow gone off the rails here. Thanks, Human Metal. I'm gonna pin out you motherfucker.
I'm fine with that.
Well, he also Human Metal likes things just being pinned on him, like thumbtacks.
I don't even know what that is, but keep going.
Murders that he may or may not have done. Anyway.
Yeah,
same old.
Yeah.
Brack, save us. What's first on your list? We're drowning here.
First on my list is the spectacular, the amazing, the friendly neighborhood Spiderman.
You forgot a few ones.
I forgot. Like he has way too many.
Sensational, ultimate, unlimited. Oh, there are a few more.
2099.
Yeah.
Noir.
Yeah, there are a bunch of those.
Yeah. I just repeat my joke again in case no one heard it. Rebooted.
Yeah.
The rebooted Spider-Man. Oh, damn.
Spider-Man 3. Well, there are too many Spider-Mans. So, but
Spider-Man 3, as in like Spider-Man Pie. You know, there'd just be like 100 Spider-Men.
Yeah. There's like a movie coming up called Spider-Verse, so there's like probably 100 Spider-Man in there.
Yeah, bunch of them, definitely.
A lot of them, but there's room for one more, and that's Spider-Man on the PS4, and that's what I've been playing, and it's amazing, it's spectacular, it's friendly neighborhoody, and it's just really good. Like I'm not sure if you seen this picture going around a little bit, and it's like this picture of like Ratatouille, and there's this moment Ratatouille where the guy eats like the delicious food and he gets flashback to him as a kid eating the same food, right?
Yeah.
And only the difference is like you're playing Spider-Man 4 and you get like a flashback to when you're a kid when you were playing like Spider-Man 2. That's how it feels like. It feels the way you remember Spider-Man 2 to be when you were a little kid playing it for the first time.
You were a little kid when you were playing Spider-Man 2, right?
Yes, that's why.
Yeah, I mean, Chuchu and I weren't, so...
Yeah, I was in my 20s when that came out.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, for you, that's less special. For me, that's like a special place in my heart because I love playing it. I love swinging around and stuff like that. And now, I still love it. It looks amazing. It feels amazing to just swing around the city, and there's always something to do. Like it's like it gets criticized a lot because it's like another open world game, just filled with like little side missions and stuff to collect and blah blah. But because the core gameplay is so much fun to do, you're not bothered by it because it's just like, oh, of course I'm gonna just swing around to collect some backpacks because the swinging is so much fun that I won't have a problem doing that, and I just collect some new cool outfits, and you can swing around with those cool new outfits. And I've actually been to New York in like a month and a half ago, and I recognize spots from playing a game. Like I recognize, oh yeah, I've been there, or oh, I've been to this location, or hey, it's weird that they took this out, even though it's there in real life. And just, I've never had that experience before because most of the times I play video games, they're never like set in locations I've actually been to or actually been to in such a way that I recognize the spots. Like, oh yeah, I've been to Paris, but I won't recognize Paris from Assassin's Creed Unity, I think, because it's like in the 1600s or some shit like that.
Yeah.
So I won't recognize.
But this tower there, I guess.
Yeah, this is like this is New York from like today. It's like a recent New York, so it's really cool to swing around and recognize places you've been to.
But my question is, how does MJ feel about Peter Parker's swinging around the city?
They're actually at the beginning of the game they're broken up, so I think it's no problem that he goes after Black Hat.
Oh, right. So he's swinging with other people, not MJ. I see. Getting all modernist.
Yeah. Even without condom, apparently. But that's thing.
No, he always wears a suit, but I think he has like a condom that's like has like a Spiderman logo on it.
But I wonder if his dick actually spits out spiderweb.
No, because it's like a machine.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So doesn't work like that.
Maybe he might make a small machine for his dick, so his dick does spit out spiderweb.
Yeah,
maybe it's like his party trick.
But yeah,
it's more like an Iron Man thing to do, I think. Have like a small little Iron Man suit for his dick, you know?
Yeah. Better safe than sorry. I mean, he has a spider drone, so.
Definitely, Iron Man definitely has that thing from Dusk Till Dawn, you know, where his crotch opens up and there's like a pistol in there.
Yeah, for sure.
Probably. But yeah, having the landmarks in there, the iconic ones, is a pretty cool thing. Like, you know, actually being one of the side quests to take photos of those and everything.
And also a lot of like landmarks from the Marvel universe.
Yeah, you can go to the what's called Doctor Strange house called the Sanctum Sanctorum or something.
Yeah, that's there. But there's also like from like Daredevil. There's like the bar from Daredevil, and there's like stuff like that.
I think the Baxter building isn't in there. I'm not sure.
But the Avengers building definitely is in there.
Yeah,
it's like
it's the biggest one.
Building there, and they actually put like the Fisk building on the same spot that where the Trump building is in real life.
I didn't know that. That's great.
So yeah, it also has like Fisk like in golden letters on it. So it's like it's definitely perfect. You can definitely see what they're trying to do there.
Yeah, that's one of the Twitter pictures I saw going around. Like one person who's like working in Manhattan and just, you know, or living there, and then you see him like video grabbing a screen from this game on his TV, and then like zooming over out of his window, and then there's the same building that's on his TV right now. It's like, hey, that looks familiar, and we're like, hey, that's cool. That's cool. Yeah, good stuff. Cool.
Yeah. So you're just really enjoying that game in general? How did you finish it yet?
I haven't finished it yet, but like.
Okay. I wanted to ask you about the story, but then I'm gonna.
I haven't finished the story. I'm not even that far into the story, I think, but I haven't heard that it's not that long, so I probably will finish it pretty quickly. But I like that it doesn't matter how long a time I have to play. Like even if I play for just like half an hour, I get something out of it. And sometimes, but especially with open world games, it feels like you have to put in like hours to get really into it and get really going and to complete some stuff. But here there's so many small things to do that even playing for like half an hour or 40 minutes or something, you get something cool to do.
Yeah, it's a very pick up and play game. You know, the stuff Nintendo is usually pretty strong at, and you know, this is just it all comes down to the mechanics being so good and so fun that you don't have to like feel like you have to get into it again and again, because you just pick it up and it's like, ah, yeah, this is how it is, and now let's do this quick, I don't know, crime solving mission or whatever, or you know, this stronghold stuff, and yeah, and then you're done with that, and you know, can just squeeze it in.
Only problem I have is that I'm trying to, like, in my memory, I'm so like the Batman Arkham Knight, Arkham City controls are so embedded into my memory that every once in a while I try to dodge and I use like the dodge button from Batman, and it doesn't work here. It's like you do something completely different.
Yeah. Dodge is very important. I got my ass kicked a lot in the beginning of the game because I was underestimating how strong gunshots and the heavies in that game are. They can really fuck you up if you don't fucking, you know, evade. Look at that spider sense tingling, because that's a very important part of the game, at least in the beginning. But you pretty quickly unlock a very overpowered, special ability, and then it's kind of a cakewalk. But
it's not a difficult game, that's for sure.
From a certain point. In the beginning, maybe, but you know, once you get accustomed. But I'm playing New Game Plus right now to show a friend of mine the story. And I'm just, you know, obviously breezing through it. I don't have to do anything of the side stuff to upgrade anymore. But it's so fun just being a badass in New Game Plus with all your abilities unlocked. And, you know, the beginning enemy is only taking a few hits and stuff. And it's fun.
And have your cool ass outfits, because
exactly.
My favorite outfit is the Spider-Punk outfit. But it doesn't fit into the story at all. It feels out of place when you're playing the story. So I'm only using it playing the side missions, because it just looks so weird, like having an emotional scene with Spider-Man, and he has like this punk outfit with like the spikes on top of his head. It's like, oh, this looks ridiculous.
And that awesome special move where he, like, you know, strums his guitar and creates the shockwave. I like it. But my favorite, I think, is the green black stealth suit and the iron spider suit from Infinity War. They both look amazing at night. So yeah, I love those two. So yeah,
I love the fabric. Like, you can actually see that some suits are made from like a different fabric than the others, and it's like, super detailed.
Also, there's this one suit that they did cel shaded, so it looks like the old ass Steve Ditko cover artwork from the comics, from the cover of the comics, and that looks amazing too. So yeah, good stuff.
Cool.
It looks like a very expensive game.
Yeah, I have Spider-Man actually, but I've not played it. It's waiting for like birthday or Christmas, because at that time when it arrived, I was playing Persona. So I decided, rather than, you know, try to 2-time Persona with Spider-Man, I'm gonna just put Spider-Man on the back burner and play it towards Christmas if I have time. But then I ended up segue. Then I ended up 2-timing Persona anyway with Red Dead Redemption 2, which came out.
And by 2-timing, you mean to completely abandon Persona 5 and now you're playing Red Dead?
No, actually no, because Persona is such a strong game, and I was having such a good time with Persona. Of course, like Red Dead Redemption has certainly interrupted it. But actually, this weekend, I'm planning to go and do a bit more Persona. So I'm not giving up on Persona.
I'm glad you're having
actually
fun
going to
with
continue it. Yeah, I really like Persona. I finished the second dungeon, Madarame's dungeon, and looking forward to like going ahead to see what's next. And I just really enjoy it. Besides, like, the thing is, Persona is a really huge game.
No
that
kidding.
is one style. And Red Dead Redemption 2 is also a really huge game, which is all in one style. Yeah, so I think, like, rather than burn myself out playing one type of game, I think I can basically split my time a little bit between Persona and Red Dead Redemption, because they're two totally opposite style of games. So I think I could probably juggle those a little bit.
Yeah, sure. That's an interesting approach to me, because once I get into the mood for one specific game, I want to like wrap that up before I get to another one. But I can see how, you know, especially for such long games, you maybe want to mix it up a bit. In between. But you know, once I'm like heavy Persona 5, I was like, once I was in there, it's like, oh god, I need to keep playing this, because this is kind of the game that is, you know, giving me this great atmosphere and feelings right now. So yeah, but
that might happen. I think it all hinges pretty much on this weekend. If I get back into Persona and really start to enjoy Persona again, I might abandon Red Dead Redemption and come back to it at a later date, because whatever happens, Red Dead Redemption is just going to be sitting there waiting for me.
I wonder what's going to happen.
Yeah, me too. So I'm going to offer some initial thoughts on Red Dead Redemption 2. So I'm not that far into it at all. I've played about just 2 hours plus of the game, which is basically nothing. I've scratched the surface of it. I got out of the mountains and have come down to the sort of more grassy area, and I'm still sort of investigating the local area there. So I'm really not that far into it. What can I tell you about the game? Well, it's fucking gorgeous. It's pretty much the best looking PlayStation 4 game I've ever seen, and that's saying something, because there was Uncharted 4, which was gorgeous as fuck, but I think somehow
God of War and stuff like that, like a lot of games are just amazing.
Spider-Man.
Yeah.
I've not seen Spider-Man running on the HDD. I've only seen it on YouTube or whatever, so you can't really judge from that. But Red Dead Redemption is just it's. I don't know if it is the best looking PlayStation 4 game ever, but it's definitely one of them. Do you know what I mean? It's
I've heard a lot of people say that it's the best looking thing out there right now. Like a lot of people.
Gorgeous. Like at points when you catch it in the right light, it almost looks photorealistic. It's amazing. So there's that. So one thing that surprised me is it plays very differently from the original Red Dead Redemption. It's a lot slower than the original Red Dead Redemption. It's like a lot more realistic. The way that the character moves is kind of like realistic. Especially like when he's walking around the camp, or the way he runs, his speed is like way lower, and his animations and movements are like really weighty. Like you can actually feel like the muscles swinging around and stuff on the character. It's hard to explain, but there's a real weight behind the character.
Would you say that the first one maybe went a bit more for Western arcade style-ish game, while the second one is more of a simulation Western thingy?
Oh yeah, definitely. But I think everybody knows that, who paid any attention to the lead up. So everybody knows that that this one's going for like a much more simulationary type thing. I mean, you have to cook. If you're hungry, you have to cook. If you have to shave your beard, you have to like take a bath. I haven't really done any of that yet, to be honest.
I'm not surprised.
Well, because I haven't had time, you metal, you fuck. But what I'm more surprised about is like just the slowness, of the actual movement. Like also in the gunplay as well, like the way that the reload times actually has like a full-on animation of him like taking out the back of his rifle, sticking more shells in there, pounding it down, sticking it back on, and then you're ready. It's like a decent few seconds while he's reloading. Like you can't just spam shoot people like you could in the original. Like you have to cock the gun and stuff. So between every shot, like he's cocking the gun. So it's really like intensely realistic, in a way. But there are also times when, you're in the middle of a gunfight, and you're basically almost shouting at the character, "Hurry the fuck up!" He's basically like ambling along, and you're just like, if I was getting shot at, I'd be running like a fucking maniac, diving on the floor. But so there is that aspect to it, but it's beautiful. But it also has a different feeling from the original Red Dead completely. So it feels much more along the lines of like Skyrim. Is what I would say. Obviously it's got the cowboy aspects.
It's like Skyrim with gods.
It is basically pretty much like Skyrim with guns. It's so deep, and the way that you walk around and talk to everybody, it's really got that RPG aspect to it, where you just walk around and you chat to everybody. When you like the original Red Dead, you couldn't do that. You couldn't chat to people, but you can in this one. So you're walking around, you target people, and then there's a bunch of responses that you can choose, and how you talk to that specific person and stuff. And it's like, it feels like a very RPG-ish social type of game. And about learning all these different things about, how like you need to go hunting to make new pouches and stuff. And to do that, you need to make all these things from herbs and stuff that you find out in the wild. And the systems are so deep in that game. Like, it really feels properly like an RPG more than an open world action game. Yeah.
I heard the controls are a bit take a bit of time getting used to. Some people listen to on podcasts and everything had real problems with accidentally pulling their guns on people and everything when they just wanted to talk to them, leaving missions by accident because they wanted to get their gun from their horse, and then their horse was like 1 centimeter too far away from the quest giver, and the quest giver was like, okay, I guess we are not doing this. And did you notice some kind of weirdly buggy stuff in there like that, or?
Not really, but I'm still struggling with the controls just because I'm an hour plus in or whatever, and the game doesn't. I guess it's good in a way. The game just doesn't give you much in the way of pointers. It's like kind of old school in the way that it doesn't really guide you. It doesn't hold your hand.
Yeah.
And to the point where it doesn't really tell you, like what exactly the controls are. It's saying, you can cook and stuff like that, and it's like, how? How do I cook? What am I supposed to do? It doesn't tell you anything. It's kind of like you got a bit like Skyrim. You just got to figure that shit out for yourself as you go through the game. So it's interesting. I mean, I've had that. I meant to talk to someone and end up fucking pistol whipping him to death, and then had to deal with a witness. Because I was determined to play it as a hero as well, or as heroic as you can. Like be like the bandit with a heart of gold who wouldn't kill people. Yeah. In one of the opening missions or something where you're supposed to point your gun and corral the people back onto the train and stuff like that. I accidentally shot one of them dead.
You and revealed your true self.
And like I say, another guy, I just wanted to sort of like talk to him and calm him down. I ended up like pistol whipping him to death.
Shit happens.
And then had to go and like basically murder a witness. So, when from the fallout from that, but but it's a beautiful game. It's really fun to play. It's very, very slow burn. It's not fast. It has no speed to it. Like the horse, I swear to God, horses can run faster than that. I've seen them run faster than that in real life. But it's got a very relaxing. It just takes the kind of that relaxing atmosphere of the original Red Dead and just amplifies it, just cranks it up to the max. So I would equate it to, if the original Red Dead was something like Young Guns or something, then this one is like Unforgiven.
All right.
That's what I would equate it to. It's like this really serene, peaceful, simulatory slow burn thing. I think people with low patience will not enjoy it. Yeah. So there you go. That's my report on Red Dead. I think I'm pretty much done with that. I don't have anything much to say. I don't want to get into the plot details or anything because I want to completely avoid spoilers. And that's one thing about the game that I will say. I was very happy that nobody talked about plot spoilers. Like people specifically avoided certain things about the plot and stuff, which were very surprising to me, and I really enjoyed that. Like for once, in not knowing everything about the plot line or something, or like no asshole spoiled like major things from the game. So yeah, I'm definitely not going to do that either. So I know because I'm going to just zip it here. Let's move on.
I was about to say, how much can there be in the first hour of the game?
Metal. Brack, what's first on your list?
Brack already said what was first.
I had Spiderman, you dingus.
Well, I'm so used to Human Metal going first. It's confusing me. I think you felt it too when I was like, Brack, how are you today? Human Metal's usually got a stock response for that. Brack was just like, yeah, I'm all right. Anyway, on your list?
The first thing on my shallows list today is an old acquaintance, an old friend, and that is Batman. Yet again. Bragg already mentioned him with the Arkham games, but we're going into a different medium, and that is TV. And because we recently got a nice collector's edition for Batman the Animated Series, a now old-ass cartoon series at this point. But one of my favorites, I think, Bragg, you like it too. That must have been one of the shows from your childhood, right? So this one so far only has been completely released on DVD, if I'm not mistaken. We got several collections here, but we didn't have it on Blu-ray yet. And this one is like all the seasons and the 2 movies, Mask of the Phantasm and Sub-Zero. And remastered, polished up, sound remix and everything. And it looks and sounds gorgeous. It's fantastic. I was surprised how much they were able to clean it up. I mean, now that you see everything in clear detail, some of the like rough edges show more than when you watched it on DVD or VHS or something, or on TV. But it's still amazing how much work was put into that show in certain parts. And not, I've only watched a couple of episodes. My favorites, naturally, I've watched the movie Mask of the Phantasm, and not everything in that show holds up. All the episodes were handled by different studios, and some of those were good story Japanese animation studios who knew what they were doing, and some of them were cheap Korean studios who, were not that good at their job, and that's how those episodes look. And if you want to play tips like On Leather Wings, Heart of Ice, Feet of Clay Part 2 looks amazing. Harley and Ivy is a good-looking show. Basically, all the stuff that was handled by the animation studio TMS is good stuff, and Spectrum, those two. But yeah, there are a lot of good-looking, still holding up episodes in that series. And it's just, at this point, it's just a very important part of, I guess, comic book superhero history, because it's just such an iconic portrayal of the character.
Mm-hmm. It's my favorite portrayal of Batman, actually.
Yeah,
I think a lot of people's.
When it comes to look, when it comes to the stories and how they interpreted it, when it comes to the voice actors who are still the most iconic ones out there. Like, not only voice actors, but actors, period. Like, if you think of Batman and you have watched more than the movies, then you probably think of Kevin Conroy. If you think of the Joker and have watched more than the movie, more than the movies, then you probably think of Mark Hamill. And that's where this originated from. That's when they took on that part. And it's really fun going back to those old-ass episodes and listening to early baby Kevin Conroy trying to do The Dark Knight and not quite having figured it out yet, being a bit too, bit too smarmy, bit too snappy to Alfred, but like this kind of more soft voice. And it's like, whoa, that he does not sound like in the Arkham games here. And like, I think in the middle of season 2 or something, he figured it out and went to the dark place and finally got that iconic dark voice in there. And and Mark Hamill is amazing from the beginning. He knew what he wanted to do with the Joker, and he went for it, and it's perfect right from the get-go. And yeah, it's an amazing show. Downright. Even the episodes that are not good looking might have something fun in there for you. It's a limited edition, so I don't know how many are still out there, but I recommend you getting it if you like Batman, if you like superhero stuff, and if you like animation and everything. All valid reasons to check out this show, because it's a piece of history and a very good one at that.
I don't like Mask of the Phantasm, I have to say.
You don't? Why?
It's boring. But hey, that's just me. I tell you what.
Don't think it's boring. It's a Batman You Won story. I mean, what did you expect it to do? I thought the character they used was pretty neat. I mean, you can see everything. You can see all the plot points happening in advance. Like, it's not a complicated movie or anything. I mean, it was still made with kids at mind, but I think it's a very well done picture.
I'll have to rewatch it. I have the DVD. I'll have to rewatch that. But I'll tell you what made me laugh about Batman recently. I saw Deadpool 2. recently, and the Batman line just stitched me up. Where like they were having a Cable and Deadpool were having a fight, and like Cable's like, "Who are you?" And he's like, "I'm Batman." It just got me. It just stitched me up. But yeah, I would actually. The Batman animated series is one of those animations that I missed out on when I was a kid for some reason. I don't know why. I just didn't watch it, but it was always one of those things that looked interesting from afar. And now that I'm a bit older, I do like Batman. Well, I used to like Batman before fucking Zack Snyder, but it's one of those cartoons that I wish I had watched when I was a kid, because I think everybody that seems to have watched it when they were a kid like really loved it. Like intensely, so I would like that, and I think that's why I own Mask of the Phantasm, actually, because I was like, oh yeah, I should give that Batman animation like a more of a shot. So I bought Mask of the Phantasm, but for whatever reason I didn't really enjoy it. But I should give it another shot. I know Brack really likes that show.
Yeah, I do. I really like that show. It's like I said, it's my favorite version of Batman, and I like the way it just played into the games as well, which are also one of my favorite versions of Batman. So yeah, even though, especially like he said, like you well said, I'm watching the first few episodes of Batman Animated, he sounds, Kevin Conroy sounds so friendly as Batman. And if you compare it to like the Arkham games, especially the last Arkham game, Batman is such an asshole in that. It kind of feels like, oh man, there's been some time between those versions of Batman. It's kind of hilarious to see.
Yeah, it's also, in the beginning, his portrayal of Bruce Wayne also is like this very, what you would expect actual Bruce Wayne to be, like trying to build this image of a suave playboy who's like very friendly with the ladies and everything, and a kind of friendly but also a bit dopey guy. And then, when they revamp the design in season 4 and everything, he just gets gradually more and more like Batman, even as Bruce Wayne. He becomes like this very slick, tall, dark, edgy dude. And it's like, okay, you're basically the same person now as Bruce Wayne and Batman. But still, yeah, it's fun to see how that series, changes his character and design over time. It's interesting stuff.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. All right, Brackus, what is next on your list?
Next on my list is a game that you and me have played together, the two of us, on co-op.
Again?
No, A Way Out.
Oh, yes, A Way Out, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, and I really, really, really liked that game. Actually, I had a really good experience playing through that. Like it combines like the things I like about like the walking simulator, story-based type games, and like the Telltale type games, only with a lot more exploration and with like a lot more actually action beats in between there. And of course, there's co-op as well. So it's like it's really and everything just works together pretty well. Like every once in a while you have a location you can explore, and then you can talk with the person you're playing with a little bit, and there's no dialogue going on, but then there's some dialogue goes on, and you talk a little bit. You have some time to talk about that, and then there's the mini game to do there, and it just all feels like part of the same experience. You combine that like heavy storytelling with co-op, and it just works really well.
Yeah, I would agree with you absolutely. I think for me, hands down, it's the best story-related co-op game I've ever played. No question, in fact. It was so much fun, and I expected. The thing is that I love the way that games sort of defies your expectations as well, because I expected it to be sort of like a more minor in scale, like. I expected it to be kind of like, working together to sort of solve puzzles or whatever and break out of prison. What I didn't expect it to do is like go full on Uncharted on you towards the back end of the game.
But there's also like there's like a moment in the middle or somewhere where there's like insane fight sequence going on. You have to escape from the cops, so you have to shoot out with the cops, and have like you don't kill them, but you shoot at the cars and stuff like that. And it's like, oh, this is full on like an action game at the same time. And it feels a lot like you and a buddy watching like an action like a good 90s action movie together. It definitely feels pretty old school like that, like an 80s cop movie like that. But like at the same time, it feels very modern, and uh, they invite you to talk about the what's going on while actually experiencing it. And I really enjoyed
Yeah,
that.
it's really good. Also, some of the mini games in there were incredibly addictive. What was it we were playing? Do you remember there was like a sort of kind of a weird, almost like Pong type video
Yes,
game where you ended up
there's like
chucking grenades at each other,
I
and
think it's
Brack and I
called
just stayed
something.
there. Yeah.
I think it's called something like Grenade Brothers or something like that.
Yeah, that's right. Grenade Bros. Yeah, that was it. That's what it was. Yeah. And then Brack and I just stayed there for an ungodly amount of time playing Grenade Bros. And Connect 4. Brack and I had the most heated game of Connect 4 ever.
But the Connect 4 wasn't like the main one that actually almost hurt my fingers. There's like one point where you go like arm wrestling, right?
Yeah, that's right.
And it's not a good mini game. It's like a very silly mini game where you just have to press X a lot. But none of us wanted to give up, so we were just pressing X until our fingers started hurting.
Yeah. Like playing a game of Mario Party that just never ends.
Like, and like every once in a while you try to oh yeah, I'm on the winning side now, I can switch fingers, and then I switch to a different finger to keep on pressing X. It's yeah, that was really hilarious.
Yeah. And the story is actually really emotional as well. It hits the right emotional beats and actually is quite affecting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it hits a lot of notes there, and there is also like a whole bunch of humor. I remember one of the funniest things is where Brack and I, we noticed that we could sit on the seesaw, so we decided both of us to go sit on the seesaw, and the two characters, fully like grown men, basically in their 40s or whatever, and they, to have them both like basically go to this child's play park and sit on the seesaw was fucking hilarious. And the character's reaction is, they sat down on the seesaw, and one of them was like, "What the fuck are we doing?" So it was
Sounds like a fun time.
It was great. It was an absolutely amazing game.
Yeah, like while playing it after finishing, especially, it's like, you know what? I really would like more games like this. Like, just different stories, but like exactly like set up the way this game is set up, because I enjoyed it so much.
Yeah, I would agree with that. It was great, and it had a very nice sting in the tail. I don't want to ruin anything for anybody who's going to play it, but yeah, it was.
I would appreciate that.
It was
I still
very,
want to play it.
Yeah, you definitely should. Human Metal. It was excellent. I can't imagine a co-op game being better than that, but I'm sure time will surprise us. Yeah, but just like Brack, please, more games like that, please, definitely. I guess I'm next. So, let's see. I am, yes, because you're third. Human Metal.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Thanks, Human Metal.
It sounds like you were wondering who's next. I'm sorry. You weren't? Okay, sorry.
Oh, it's me. Okay, so I'm gonna talk about Solo, the Star Wars movie. So, geez, what can I say about Solo? Wow. What can I say about Solo? What is there to say about Solo? That's what there is to say about Solo. Nothing.
Oh man, yeah, that's Solo is not a good movie.
No.
And it has like one of the worst lines in a movie I think I've ever seen. Like there's a moment in the beginning where he's like he's joining the academy or whatever, joining the flight academy or whatever, and it's like, "What's your name, boy?" He's like, "I don't have a name." "Oh, do you not have any people?" It's like, "No, I'm alone." "Oh, Solo it is then." And that's like the name, how you got the name Solo. It's like, oh my god, it's so bad.
Yeah. Solo. So in depth about Solo. Yeah. Well, the thing is, like, Solo is a difficult film because it's not terrible. It's not good either. The best way I can say, like, at points, it's mildly interesting, and at points, it's mildly boring. No, hang on. No. I mean, actually, at points is very boring, but like, it's just one of those films that you watch it, like, and it's almost like you haven't watched anything, because as soon as it finishes, you don't remember anything about it, like literally nothing. Like, I think Brack remembered that quote. Like, he remembers that. Like, I didn't even remember that. Like, it's like 2 hours of time just evaporated, you know. And
so I've heard.
Yeah, I think it's perfect to watch like on the background while doing some other stuff, or like when you're like you can't sleep at like Sunday night at like 2 in the morning or stuff like that, and then you put all that on, and then after a while you fall asleep, and you're like, yeah, no time wasted.
the best thing I can say about Solo is no, there is no best thing. Hey, I think the worst thing I can say about Solo, on the flip side, is that it really was one of those movies, one of the experiences I had where towards the end of the film, I was thinking to myself, you know, when is this going to finish? How long does this movie have left? Like, come on, just go. Geez, this movie's long. Like, that was my feeling. And you really should not feel that from a Star Wars movie. It's a fucking Star Wars movie. And even like the prequels and stuff were pretty terrible. But like even Episode 1 had sunspots in it, you know.
I would put this above Episode 1 in my opinion.
Not agree with you at all. I think this is way worse than Episode 1. This is easily, for me, the worst Star Wars film ever made, because it's just, there's nothing good about it. It's just not, I mean, it's all like this quagmire of just mediocrity. There's nothing that rises out at
so
you.
It's not even entertainingly bad, like so.
No,
bad.
Definitely not. It's definitely like straight on middle of the road, like
mediocre.
You get like
pure definition.
You can't even point at the actors like, oh, the actor's not doing a good job. Everybody's doing an all right job. Like nobody's like having it in or just being extremely bad at it. It's just like it's just there.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, you know, Episode 1 has the pod race. Episode 1 has the badass lightsaber battle at the end. Like, it has boring parts in between. Yeah, sure. But like, Solo just is. It's just right. It's just like you say. It's just exist, you know. And you have these scenes with these CGI scenes with the Millennium Falcons going through and getting into all these scrapes, and it should be exciting, but it's just a CGI mass. It's like, you know, it's like watching Transformers. It's like watching a video game you can't play. It's just really just not good. I mean, it like I say, it's not terrible as parts of Episode 1 were. But it doesn't have anything redeeming about it, which Episode 1 did in the few great scenes that were in that film. It's just so stuck in that mediocrity where you just feel nothing. It's like it's a film that just makes you want to sleep more than anything else. I mean, it's a time that literally robs you of your time. Like, you know, I just got 2 hours closer to my death, and I have nothing to show for it. So with that in mind, I actually want the director of that movie to write me a fucking apology letter. And in fact, I'll write an apology letter to every single person that ever fucking watched that movie and say, you know, sorry, I stole 2 hours of your life. Here, I'm going to give you $20. Like, please, Ron Howard, do the right thing.
I wonder how that movie would have turned out if, you know, Lord and Miller would have actually completed their vision.
Yeah, like I think it would be much more entertaining, at least. Like even if it was a train wreck, it would be like at least something.
I think it would have just been much more like absurd comedy focused, and that's not what Disney wanted from that movie. They wanted it to be like kind of the same adventure thing with a bit of humor in there, but not completely focused on the comedy. And you know, then the directors didn't want that, so they got who directed the movie eventually.
Ron Howard.
Ron Howard, right? They got one of the most generic directors, you know, in terms of style in there they could get, and one of the safest bets, I guess. But that eventually hurt the movie. So
in his defense, Ron Howard has made a few classics, but
Yeah, sure.
this definitely is not one of them. You know, this is like the Werther's original of Star Wars. If you
Yeah,
want to
no,
fall
no.
asleep in a rocking
Like
chair,
this is a
this
lot
is the
more
movie to
like
watch.
this is a lot more like his previous movies, like Inferno and stuff like that. Like those Robert Ludlum books, like the Da Vinci Code and shit like that.
Yeah.
This is especially like in that wheelhouse.
So, although just to wrap up, because there's not that much to say about Solo, I completely agree with Brack. I think the actors did a decent job. Nothing spectacular, but nothing bad either. I mean, Paul Bettany looked like he was having a lot of fun. So the actors were fine. The special effects, were good. They were decent. They were pretty good, in fact, in points. The story is, frankly, nothing to shout home about, but what the fuck. And it's not terrible. It's not good. It just exists in just this exact horrible gray area where it's even worse than if it was bad, if you can understand that in a way. Yeah. It's just so white bread.
It just doesn't conjure up any kind of feeling from you. Not,
Exactly.
Not hatred, not fun, not, laughing at it, nothing. And that's the worst thing you can get from a movie. Just no reaction at all.
Yeah, exactly. At least episode 1, got you irate about fucking midichlorians and stuff. This one has nothing. And like I say, the worst thing is, by the end of it, I just wanted it to wrap the fuck up and go away. Extend, please.
That's everything you need to know right there.
Yeah, damn. And it's terrible to say that about a Star Wars film. And so the fallout from this is that Disney have, completely cancelled the Boba Fett movie and basically just rolling back their Star Wars, their plans, which is a very, very good idea if this is the quality of film they're going to consider pumping out. But there you go. Very disappointing. So Human Metal, what is next on your list?
Next on my list, oh man, fighting games are still going strong. We have kind of had a revitalization of that genre over the past years. And
fighting games still going strong. Pun, 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 pun. We got them.
Yeah, we got them all. So it was about time we got a new Soul Calibur game, because it's been a while since Soul Calibur 5. It was on the PS3. Most people hated that one because it did the Mortal Kombat 10 thing, where it introduced a bunch of new characters, children of previous characters and everything, and nobody cared about those. And that game was not particularly good or well received. So now everyone was wondering, hey, how is 6 gonna be? And what they did was let's bring it back to the roots and get all the, the important characters in there, and back to, I don't know, I think it's set right after the first one or something in that timeline. I don't know. I haven't played the story mode yet. The story of Soul Calibur is so fucking ridiculous, even for fighting game standards, that I don't know if I'm particularly interested in it. But mechanics-wise, it's surprisingly fast. I had forgotten how fast Soul Calibur could be. And to be fair, I haven't played that many games from the series. I played the first 3, if you want to include Soul Edge or Soul Blade. And then I just, played a few hours of 3, 4, and 5. But yeah. So my favorite was 2, and this is bringing me back to that time I played Soul Calibur 2. Spiderman brought back to the time we played Spiderman 2. This was the thing for me. It's like, oh man, this feels really good. This feels to me like Soul Calibur 2, like the fun I had there. And it's not the same old thing. They put a few new mechanics in there, you got a super meter now, some flashy super moves. You got this weird thing that is called reversal edge, if I'm not mistaken, which is kind of a parry block thing that you can pull out at any moment with the press of one button, and then you block some moves and then enter this rock paper scissors state, and then you have to guess what each other's who presses what button, and one beats the other and something like that. Like I said, rock paper scissors system. And yeah, it's weird. It mixes things up a bit, but I don't know if I'm I'm loving it because it kind of takes out a bit of the momentum from a fight every time, you enter that state, because you go into super slow-mo, and then, the players have time to enter to press their button, and then the characters clash, and however that turns out, maybe they clash again. So there's like these moments in the fights where you dish out your combos, you have like this quick exchanges, and it's going back and forth, and then suddenly, whoop, reversal edge, and the game just comes to a complete stop for like a few seconds. The characters clash, maybe something happens, maybe it doesn't, maybe the other one blocks, and nobody gets hit, and then it continues the normal way. So it's a bit weird, it takes some time getting used to, but I definitely don't hate it. It's just different, it feels really different. But aside from that, yeah, I'm loving it. I love the characters. My favorite is probably the new character, Grow, who's like this fucking anime edgelord's wettest dream, I guess, who's like this weird dude with a fucking Darth Maul-ass spear and a fucking eye patch and blue hair. It's silver blue hair, and he's ridiculous. And I laughed so hard when I saw him for the first time. But yeah, he's fun to play. He's a fun character. So yeah, and all the classic ones are in there too. So I'm really enjoying it. I think it's a great Soul Calibur game. It's a lot of fun. It takes a bit of time to get used to the controls. I wouldn't say it's completely pick up and play from the get-go, but it's definitely easier to get into than some of the other fighting games, like maybe Dragon Ball Fighters, or maybe Street Fighter or Tekken. I don't know, some of the more combo heavier stuff, because Soul Calibur is more about the quick exchanges and knowing that that a vertical attack beats this horizontal attack and stuff like that. It's not that combo heavy or as combo heavy as other games. It's more about reacting and acting and reacting and evading, using your 8-way run to move into and out of the screen and stuff like that. So yeah, it's definitely a different kind of fighting game than some of the other stuff we've been getting. But I really enjoy it. I think it's a cool entry into the series, and I'm looking forward to playing it more. So I don't know. Have you had any experience with the Soul Calibur series?
Go ahead, Breck.
Yeah, I played the story mode for Soul Calibur 3, which had like this one mode where you create your own character and you had to go like around the battlefield or whatever.
Yeah, that's in 6 again too. I think that's in everyone.
No, I think the last two didn't have it. So this is the first one since the third one that has it.
All right.
So that's one of the reasons I'm interested in it a little bit. And I really enjoyed creating my own characters and like just fighting with it. Like I always create like a big ass like super muscular Papa Smurf with like a giant hammer, and that's one of the characters I always create the Soul Calibur to fight with other people with.
I've seen some really weird creations on Twitter from the Soul Calibur character creator, like people getting super creative, especially with Voldo because he contorts so much. Someone created a fucking Magikarp from Pokemon.
Yeah,
Voldo like bends his back and then turns into that fucking goldfish. It's like, what the fuck?
Like,
it's amazing.
I can't even imagine how you got there. Like, how did you do that? That's just art almost.
And then there was one guy who completely trolled everyone by creating like using some kind of character metrics that completely turned his characters into just this giant cube, so you could never see when the character was actually attacking, and he like beat everyone because he couldn't see the attacks coming. That's a lot of fun.
It's kind of mean, but
yeah, it's horrible, but it was fun to look at. I mean, the salt was probably piled mountains high, but a character creator in that game is really good. I've meddled around with it a bit too. Created the guts from Berserk.
I think the only Soul Calibur game I've played is the original one on the Dreamcast, which I still have in the cupboard actually. But that didn't have any character creator or anything like that. But yeah, it was my experience of Soul Calibur, as you can guess, is like really, really old school Soul Calibur. So, but it was a decent fighting game back then. Yeah, I enjoyed it. Although on the Dreamcast, I always enjoyed Power Stone more.
It's again a very different kind of fighting game.
Yeah.
It's more like a brawler where you pick up stuff and throw it at people. I love that game too. I wish we could get a new iteration of that as well.
Like a proto Smash Brothers almost.
Yeah, pretty much. Not even proto, because the first Smash Bros. Came out before Power Stone. So
Are you sure about that?
I'm pretty sure. I mean, it was on the N64, and Power Stone already was the next generation, so it must have come before Power Stone.
No. I don't think so, because Smash Brothers are right at the end of the N64's life cycle.
Maybe they overlap. Let me look this up.
Yeah, they might overlook. Yeah, Human Metal's gonna look that up. Which came out first? Power Stone. I'm saying Power Stone. Human Metal says Smash Brothers. Let's find out in the death match. Yeah, I'm gonna poke Human Metal in the eyes if he's not right, and Human Metal can shave my head if I'm wrong. Shave my beautiful locks of hair off.
Okay. Yes, you were right, but it's very close. Smash Bros. Came out. No, I was right. Very close. Sorry. Oh, goddamn.
Bernie, there's a twist in the tail.
There's a twist in the timeline. No, Smash Bros. Came out on the 21st of January 99, and Power Stone came out on the 13th of February 99. So they were very close to each other.
Yeah, I think that's too close. I think that's too close to call, to be fair.
Okay. Yeah,
I don't think so. I think that's exactly close enough to call.
All right, Human Metal, come shave my head, you fuck. I need a haircut.
Weird. Someone did that for me, apparently.
No, seriously, I need a haircut.
Okay. Anyway, but yeah, different Power Stone, very different game, but I enjoyed it too. But yeah, we'll see if we get one of those, because that was a Capcom game, and I don't know if they do anything besides Street Fighter these days in terms of fighting games. So.
Probably not. However, a Power Stone game with Street Fighter characters in it, that might be fun.
Definitely, yes. But yeah.
So, although seeing Liu turn into a giant robot that fires out missiles, that would be amusing. Do you remember they have because that's one of the characters?
Falcon.
Yeah, cool. That was awesome.
Yeah.
So I guess next up for me is, well, it's a bit out of sequence this, but I'm going to talk about some of the Netflix Marvel shows.
Isn't Bragg next?
No.
Okay.
Yes, I actually am next. Am I? I don't know.
Yeah.
Yes, I think you are, Bragg. Oh.
God damn it! God damn it! Everything goes down the shitter. Everything is going down the shitter, so that's the good reason, because I'm talking about American Vandal Season 2, which is about the third burglar. So
let's give Bragg a clap for that one. That was a decent save there.
Yeah, I know. I'm not sure if you guys seen American Vandal Season 1 or Season 2?
See both?
No, I haven't seen either. I heard you guys talk about it in much regard, but
Season 1 came out last year, and I wasn't expecting much, right? I was like, it looks like it's enough material for like a Saturday Night Live sketch or something like that. It's like a fake documentary, like making a murderer style. Only it's about like a juvenile prank on like a high school. But that only was the show. Hilarious. Like they milked so much like good jokes and funny situations out of it. They also made you actually care about the characters, and like they had like some reflection on today's society in there as well. And
fucking made me cry. Damn it.
Yes. And it's like, okay, there's no way they can like do that again with Season 2. And then they did it again. And it's like, oh my God, how did you do that? It was again hilarious and like kind of touching at times. And even it says something about today's society, like the way we interact with social media and stuff, in a way that doesn't feel preachy, and it actually feels like realistic and actually says something about today's society without like hitting you over the head with it. And it's just so well done.
Yes, I completely agree with you. I loved the first season of American Vandal. I thought it was it was a masterpiece. In fact, I think it was just like you say. It was so funny. Yeah, the other thing as well what that show did really, really well is actually pull you into the actual mystery and the investigation aspects of it. Like, like playing Sherlock Holmes. Like you're going along with the investigation, you're trying to figure out the puzzle yourself. And at some point, when the revelations come, or the people in the show, they kind of treat it with like this heavy gravitas. There's been a murder or something, and then when they have these shock revelations, you as the audience like, like this feeling, or like, and then.
Like one in season 1 is like where he's talking about the ball hairs. It's like an entire revelation about, I don't like the ball hairs are all wrong. Oh, it's all wrong. Like you draw this with ball hairs, and like the Fendel, I didn't do it with ball hairs. And like it's just like completely taking it completely serious, and it's so funny. Especially at some points, like talking to a teacher, and he's like, "But what about the ball hairs?" That's like that's amazing.
But the thing is, like, as well as being funny, it actually genuinely draws you into the mystery. You legitimately want to know who did it. Like, you know what I mean? Who drew the dicks on the cars? And you get sort of pulled in to the investigation. You're kind of like almost on the edge of your seat during the investigation process. And at some point, you catch yourself and you're like, wait, I'm getting invested in something that's about drawing dicks on cars. Like so it kind of like trolls you as the audience, I think. But I think I remember most about that. Like Brack says, the social point it has, like that season really, the first season and indeed the second season too, like they have like major stings in the tail. Like legitimately like serious messages about society and stuff, and the first season especially really caught me off guard with that, and actually had a really quite important message about society and stuff, and about how if you like enforce your ideas upon someone, like negativity upon someone, like if you keep telling someone they're worthless like this, then they'll actually start to believe it. Like this, it kind of like that, and this cycle of like, when people do things wrong and like just letting them fall into a cycle of negativity and stuff, where they just kind of fall into the that kind of endless cycle of doing bad things, and people just telling them you're no good, you're going to end up nowhere, and the society kind of comes down on them and they get like suspended or whatever, and everybody still like gives up on them. That's kind of like, it has that. I think it's it's kind of spoiler alert for the first season, by the way, but I think we're way past that, but like that's kind of the message of the original. And when the way that it presents that, and when that comes down to it, man, it's like a punch right in the heart.
Yes,
it's harsh.
It's funny, but like you feel like these people are real people. Like it doesn't feel like it doesn't feel like a sketch. Like it's funny, but it's funny in a real way where you can actually see this happening and see these consequences happening on somebody, and it's like it's kind of touching in a way.
It is. The first season made me cry. It did. It literally, I was at the end, I was just like, oh Jesus, that's so sad. But yeah, society's fucked up. But the second season, I think, was really good too. It wasn't as good as the first season, I will say that. I enjoyed it thoroughly. I remember quite a lot less about it than I did the first season. I think that speaks overall for the quality of it. But it was amazingly entertaining. I laughed my ass off. It was great fun. I just don't think that the emotional payoff, I think, at the end was quite as powerful as the first one. The first one, I think, was because the second one was more about like social media and the way that we treat each other on social media and stuff like that, right? But the first one, I think, had a more pertinent message, I think, myself. But still, the second one was just amazing entertainment as well, just great fun, just start to finish. I love the meta-ness of it as well, where they would take the reaction of the first that people had to the first season, and they would pull the reaction stuff into the second season, and that was amazing. It was really people, cool.
There's like also a few points in the beginning of the second season where they showed like they in the world of American Vandal, it's actually like a Netflix show as well. And they actually showed like the parts where it's like, oh yeah, before Netflix took it over, the graphics were really bad, and you see like and they put it back to that one scene where the guy gets a hand job, which is like the which is like my favorite graphic, and then they show it again, only this time with like really low polygon graphics, so it's even funnier.
Human Metal sitting there like he's like, what the fuck?
No, I've been looking at the episode titles for both seasons, and I can appreciate that every episode title in season 1 is a dick joke, and every episode title in season 2 is a poop joke. So.
Yes, it's amazing.
Yes,
round
very
out.
nice.
The second episode is literally called number 2. So yeah, yes. It's great.
Hard facts, a limp alibi, nailed.
Human Metal, like if you ever see anything from American Vandal, you must see that hand job graphic. That's just like the funniest thing ever.
Apparently, it's only 30 minutes per episode.
That's it's like a short series. Like that's why I expect it to be more like comedic, and it is comedic, but it has like actual heart to it.
It's got weight to it. It's got, like I say, like I already said, it's got real serious emotional stings. So Human Metal, you should definitely watch that because it's very easy to watch. It flows by and it just sucks you in, and you just get like properly wrapped up in the mystery of it, and you really want to know who's the perpetrator of these heinous crimes.
All right. Sure.
All right, so I guess I am going to go next. Yay! It is actually my turn, and I'm going to talk about. I'm going to save the best to last. That's why I'm going to talk about these Marvel series now. So I'm going to talk about some of the more minor Netflix shows that that got released because they got all released sort of quick succession this year. It's like 1 month this one, next month this one, next month this one, next month this one, like this. So it's been a very sort of Marvel Netflix kind of cascade. So I'm going to talk about, in the order that they were released, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, and Iron Fist. Oh, wow. Human Metal's already making his opinion known about Iron Fist there. I'm
just wondering if you're just missing out on one of your items on the list there, but keep going.
No. I already said I'm saving the best till last, Human Metal. So I'm
okay, all right. Sorry, I'm sick, guys. If you haven't noticed, I'm sorry for the interrupting coughs and everything. That's why.
Human Metal, you are sick. Leave those dogs alone. All right, so someone's gonna laugh.
Say it's the flu, but then you would say something dirty about pigs. So shit.
Shit, that is dirty about pigs.
Keep on going with the other. Keep on going with the other with the other shit, with the Netflix shit. You were mentioning Iron Fist.
Well,
go back to Jessica Jones. Let's talk about Jessica Jones.
Right, let's talk about Jessica Jones. So Jessica Jones season 2. I have this weird thing about Jessica Jones that I had with the first season. I had it again with the second season. Is that like I watch a few episodes of Jessica Jones, I'm bored as fuck. Like I am bored out of my mind, and I give up watching it. Then I sort of go back, and I'm like, I'll try to watch the end of Jessica Jones, and then inevitably it gets great. The more it goes on, and then at the end it's like fantastic. It's exactly the same. First and second season, like first season boring, then like what's his name, Kilgrave comes more into it, and that's great. And then the second season, it was exactly the same. Like watched a couple of episodes, this is boring as fuck, and then inevitably it just got great towards the end. I love they did the Batman spoiler alert for Jessica Jones here. Not anybody cares, to be honest. But anyway, here we go. So if you haven't seen Jessica Jones, go watch it and come back, or don't. Yeah, so they do the old Batman Arkham thing, right? From Arkham Knight, where I thought was very like almost like a reference to that game, where like the Joker appears in Batman's head in Arkham Knight, as like this person who's not really there, but is speaking to Batman, and Kilgrave is there in Jessica Jones's head, right? But he's not there because obviously he's dead. So I really thought that was like really cool whenever Kilgrave was on screen in Jessica Jones season 2 talking to to Jessica, even though he's dead, just like the Batman game. So I thought that was awesome. I loved that stuff.
I like the new character they introduced too, like
the mother.
The important one. I didn't want to spoil it, but
we already sent out spoiler alert, didn't we?
I really like. I liked the dynamic with her mother and everything, and I thought her character was kind of tragic, obviously, but pulled off well, acted well, and the thing is. I really hope they're going for this with the new season. It has already been filmed, but if they don't, if Trish is a real asshole in season 2, holy fucking shit. I hated her, and it makes if they're going in a specific direction with her for season 3 and making her Jessica's nemesis there, that makes sense. But if they're gonna try to give her a fucking redemption arc, no, sir, please don't make it like, oh, they were sisters and they have to find back together. No, fuck that, fuck her. Like,
no.
Christ. I think she's irredeemable at this point.
No, I think they absolutely knew what they were doing with that character, because she's turned into a flat out like a villain.
Yeah, I know, but I'm worried that they don't see it that way. That season 3 is gonna be about her and Jessica or the final episode, them hugging each other in tears, and I'm gonna barf at that if that happens.
No. That's not. I can guarantee you that's not what's going to happen. I think they set up Trish as the bad guy.
We'll make a wager on something.
Yeah, we should.
I wouldn't be surprised if they put it like next season and they make like her powers and like she's addicted to it. And it's like a drug addict type story.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, that's definitely where they're going with this. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's right. She's got superpowers. They're gonna fight. They're gonna be enemies. Maybe at the end of the season, maybe they might come back together. She might save her, whatever. But then again, the time with Disney is running out, right? So probably the season 3 is going to be probably the last season of Jessica Jones. So who knows? When it comes down to the final, all bets are off. I think, because I don't think Disney are going to keep these shows going. So basically, who knows? Trish could be the bad guy, gets fucking murdered at the end of the.
I wouldn't mind that.
Yeah.
I would be fine with that, totally.
I'm gonna be honest. I really didn't like season 2 all that much. I found it kind of slow and too long. It's definitely one of those examples
of those Netflix shows.
Of those Netflix shows where they just have too many episodes and they try to like fill them, and it doesn't work.
I don't always find that's the case. I find Daredevil, especially season 3, Daredevil season 3 and The Punisher were perfect lengths for me.
That's
I love the fucking Punisher.
Well, Punisher also had some stuff in there that was not that well executed. The stuff with the young war veteran that had like PTSD and everything, that was too prevalent. Like that should have been a one-off episode. And then stretched that stuff out way too much, and it didn't really go anywhere at the end, just in terms of what it meant for the plot of the show and what it meant as a statement. It wasn't saying really anything. So that was unnecessary. But aside from that, Punisher didn't really have any pacing issues. And like you said, same goes for Daredevil season 3. We'll talk about that later. But Jessica Jones, I would agree with Bragg, is one of those shows that could have used like 2 or 3 less episodes.
Well, and also a snappier, zippier beginning. Because I just find that show like the first season and the second season, just when it begins, it's like it's nails on the chalkboard.
It's a reverse Luke Cage. Luke Cage starts strong and ends like flat, when it falls flat on face.
The first season does.
First season did. Second is bad in that regard. Yes. But Jessica Jones always starts like, we're building this up way too slow, and then it gets really good. So I don't know what I find like better. Is it better if a show starts strong and ends? I think the Jessica Jones way leaves a more good impression.
Yeah, you should.
And I think it makes sense with Jessica Jones because it's like a detective story, so it needs to start with like a mystery and stuff like that.
Yeah, I guess.
So it makes sense that the slow start. I think this most of the Marvel shows, with like few exceptions, they could need some like tightening.
Like trimming, yes.
Well, I see what you're saying, but fuck you guys, because The Punisher was awesome. Like start to finish. I really, 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 really loved The Punisher. And
I enjoyed
The Punisher too. I think it's the best of the Netflix shows. Maybe it's Daredevil season 1. I haven't finished 3 yet, so we'll see. But
I think season 3 is right up there, but we'll talk about that later. But anyway, yeah. So, but I'm to throw my 2 cents, definitely with everything, with movies, and especially rock albums. Damn it, it's always best to finish strong. You know, one thing I hate about rock albums is like rock albums that are like really great, and then have the last song as this like acoustic whatever. Like, oh fuck you, go epic, man, go all out, go for it. Like, damn. Anyway, so yeah, let's talk about Luke Cage then, which is the next chronological one. I will turn over the field here. One of you guys can talk about Luke Cage first.
I actually really liked season 2 of Luke Cage. I like it better than Jessica Jones, and especially better than Iron Fist. But it's also a little bit too slow, and it leaves on like a big promise for like, oh man, I can't wait where this is going. And,
And where is it going, Bragg? Tell us.
Where did it go, Bragg?
Straight into the bin. That's where it's going.
Yeah.
So that's the big disappointment there. But overall, I enjoyed it. Great soundtrack as always. Like the actors are really good, and they actually made Iron Fist pretty cool in that one episode he was in. It's like, oh, that's a cool episode with Iron Fist in there.
Yeah, that's actually like what people wanted to see in, this maybe in Iron Fist, in the Defenders, more like Heroes for Hire. Give us that team dynamic between Iron Fist and Luke Cage, because that's what people know from the comics. That's the fun part. And that's what we got in Iron Fist seeing that in that season. So yeah, good stuff. It's like, Jesus, you need to get Iron Fist out of his own show to make him good. Like what? Okay, sure. But yeah, I also agree it was good season, maybe a bit too long again. But the Mariah character was good again. Like they did an interesting thing with Bushmaster. And Luke Cage's development was cool too. So yeah, it was all really solid. It's just a shame that now that we are at a very different point than we were at the beginning of season 2, we won't get a resolution to that because the show has been cancelled. And I doubt it's gonna be continued on Disney's streaming service. So
I doubt it.
Yeah, that's probably not gonna happen.
Spoiler alert for Luke Cage. Obviously, we already issued a spoiler alert for Jessica Jones, but we're offering a spoiler alert for Luke Cage here. All right, okay. So because I want to talk about the ending, of course, because it's great to see. Well, hang on. I will quickly say I really enjoyed it. I didn't encounter the pacing issues like you guys did. I just enjoyed that show start to finish, and I loved the Bushmaster. I thought he was hilarious. And some of the fight scenes they had were pretty impressive and pretty cool. And I liked I loved Shades. Shades is pretty much like the best thing about that show. He's pretty awesome just every time he's on screen. And I really enjoyed the way that they took the balls to pretty much set up Luke Cage as the bad guy at the end. He's basically, become what he doesn't like, and he's sort of in that role to be a corrupt bad guy. And I think there's just so much that could be done there in the next season. It's just awesome. Like Brack was saying, you can't wait to see what the next fucking season of Luke Cage. But there's not going to be a next season of Luke Cage, but they need to do something with that. Probably, I reckon, my opinion, I don't know for sure, but the season 2 of the Defenders probably will deal with something. We'll try to wrap up certain. We'll try to wrap up.
Wait,
are they making a season 2?
Yeah, I don't think they're making season 2 of the Defenders.
I don't know. It hasn't been announced yet, but it would.
No, we're not gonna get that. You're gonna get that. I don't think so. It was already a miracle that we got a season 2 of Iron Fist, but I don't think we're gonna get Defenders. That was a huge flop. Too expensive, also, so I don't think that's gonna happen.
But that totally sucks. So we're just left with Luke Cage being, embracing his dark side and being a bad guy. That's the end for Luke Cage. That's fucked up. But still, I enjoyed what it was. There you go. So let's talk about Iron Fist. Human Metal, did you watch Iron Fist?
Yes, I watched season 2, and I was hearing some things before I started the season. It was like, apparently it's gotten better. And I'm like, I can't believe that, judging how shitty the first season was. But yeah, the first thing they did was what back in
One way to go is up. That's the only way to
that's
go.
true. That's true. Or stay the same. Same shitty level. But they trimmed down the episode count, which improved things a lot in this regard. Season 2 was only 10 episodes, and it's a lot better. It's like it puts the focus on more interesting characters. Like Danny Rand is barely in it, and that's probably a good thing, I guess, because he's the least interesting character. At least the way they created that character, they structured that character until now. But he's also more interesting in this season than he was in the first, and more likable. But we got not a new villain, but one that has now become a villain who is interesting, and this story is interesting. They put a new comic book character in there. I was kind of miffed. I should have expected that because Netflix is really afraid of superpowers, like using them at all. And they didn't use her superpowers in this. They only used her, split personality disorder thing. But she was still an interesting character. And just in general, the story and the dynamic between the characters, the Daughters of the Dragons stuff, with Misty and Colleen was really cool. All the stuff works better. The series even got me to kind of like Warren Meacham, which I consider a giant feat, but he was kind of, okay in this season. So I was like, okay, what? Is this new writer and everything? I don't know. But yeah, I actually kind of enjoyed that season. The fights were much better because now they sometimes put, stuff on the Iron Fist actor's face so they can actually use stuntmen. And that works wonders for the show. It's finally actually good-looking kung fu in there. Good stuff. Some good pan-throwing Jackie Chan shit in there as well. And I really enjoyed the fighting scenes, which I wanted from season 1 and didn't get. So yeah, and then that also ends with a huge cliffhanger and some really ridiculous shit. Like the last shot of that season made me laugh out so loud because it was so dumb and hilarious. And I was like, holy shit, I want to see where this goes. Also, not going anywhere apparently because Iron Fist got cancelled too. So there you go. All the shows doing something really interesting at the end, and then turning over now leaf, turning the things around, getting better, and then not giving a chance to extend on that. That's kind of a shame.
Yeah,
so what did you think about season 2, guys?
I didn't really care for it. It's better than the first one, but it's just
it's still the worst of the bunch. Don't get me wrong, but it's definitely better.
Like I watched
it's watchable now.
A background show while I was doing other things, and it's like the best way to watch it. Yeah. And every once in a while, just to check up and look a little bit at it, and just try to feel like sometimes the fights are a little bit good. All right, it's like they have better fights this season around. That's probably the biggest improvement they've made as well. But Daredevil's fights are still better. So
definitely. They still haven't fully leaned into. I was expecting him to go full like Shaolin shit, right? Because Daredevil already has this like dirty, brawly kind of fighting style, and Iron Fist is kind of trying to do the same thing, where they make it like super brutal and realistic, and it's like, no, this is a kung fu show thing. Go for like the super wiry bullshit kung fu thing we know from Chinese movies or something, and they didn't do that. That's what they should have done to set those shows apart, because Daredevil is really good at that other thing already, and you can't
want
really
like the pulpy 80s like kung fu movie style in there.
Yeah, but we didn't get it. But still, better than season 1, definitely, in that regard.
Yeah. It's a miracle. It's an absolute miracle. But I think for the first time ever in the history of anything, I agree with every single thing that Human Metal said about Iron Fist. Everything that Human Metal said was pretty much my own opinion of Iron Fist, and I have nothing to add. It's really weird.
It had to happen at some point, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so. So here you go, Human Metal. I'm in complete synchronicity with you on this one. Yeah.
Even when it comes to Ward, I'm surprised.
Yeah, I think Ward was an asshole in the first season, although he was an entertainer.
He's still kind of an asshole, but he's more of a not as an asshole. At least him and Danny's relationship and has improved a lot. And it's fun to watch. Like when they're like throwing insults at each other and stuff like that.
So, one thing that struck me though was that Danny Rand wised up real quick, because in the first season he was like a retard, basically.
Oh, yeah.
Somehow he swiftly became unretarded for this season. So I guess that's the miracles of living in New York for like a couple months. Like you have to wise up real fast.
Or maybe it's the one good thing that Defenders did.
Yeah.
Maybe.
But yeah, I think history of this podcast has proven I'm more easily entertained than you two guys, apart from Solo, and that says a lot about Solo. But yeah, I just enjoyed Iron Fist. It was a fun time. Again, like you, the final shot was hilarious. I love the fact that Netflix showed so little faith in their main star, so reneged on their promise of choosing their actor and stuff, that they completely changed the Iron Fist from one character to another.
They weren't too fond of using it in the first place. Like, oh my god. Like, how much does he use his glowy fist? It's like in the first season, it's like twice or something, and in the second one, it's
and he always uses it
2 or 3
like
times.
Inanimate objects. Like he doesn't really like punch somebody with it, except for like for Luke Cage and that like Defenders.
I mean, there's not many people who could take it without dying. So unless he wants to do that, I guess there's a reason for that.
I wish he did that, because then it would be at least more entertaining.
Yeah, that's true. We'll turn it to Ricky O.
But then again, you have the Punisher, just to basically murders everybody.
Yeah.
On the flip
That's
side.
why that was the best show.
They could team up.
Oh man, I think
Punisher
the Punisher would probably murder Iron Fist within the first 10 minutes.
So it's a win-win situation. That's what you're saying.
Damn right. All right, so we're gonna come on.
My second to last pick.
Yeah, second to last pick, Human Metal. I'm
all
confused.
So it's time. You know who's talking right now. So.
Oh no.
It's time to talk about some fucking Mega Man in here.
It's Mega Man. He's blue and he's small and he shoots stuff. The end.
Yeah, lemons. He shoots
bit like
lemons.
Human Metal's dick when he's really cold.
Yeah, also shoots lemons. Anyway.
Man, you must have a huge dick.
That's the face I wanted to see, Tutu. Anyway, so we finally got a new Mega Man game. What the fuck? It's been ages. I would have to look it up, but it's been a while since Mega Man 10, and that was one of those, let's go back to the NES graphic era and try these. 9 and 10 did that. And yeah, and it's been a while. Capcom abandoned all Mega Man projects that were in development, and yeah, now after the debacle that was Mighty Number 9, which everyone hated, everyone had high hopes for, and that turned out horribly, we got a new Mega Man game with Mega Man 11. Was quickly announced last year and then was released this year. And it's good. It's a good-ass Mega Man game. I am very happy to report that we finally got a good one of those again. And it's got, your updated graphics. It's not super good in terms of graphics. It's like, okay, this is a budget game, definitely. But they definitely put some work into it. The backgrounds look nice. There's some nice character animations and everything, some details here and there. But we have had better looking games, in my opinion. Mega Man 8, Mega Man 7 specifically, just in terms of style. But yeah, it's cool for what it is. And, it was cheaper and everything. And there is an interesting new mechanic where you can slow down time or power up your shot and everything. And that goes for every weapon. And the bosses are cool, and the stage themes are interesting and everything. I got not much complaint about, except the same complaints I have with some other Mega Man games. There are some stages in there that are kind of gimmicky, where you have to run away from stuff, and there's some cheap death traps. And there's one stage in particular that I hated, which is like this Bounce Man stage, and you got like these weird rubber balls everywhere, and trying to like navigate through that stage is hell on earth. That's like, I got so annoyed. I was like, holy fucking shit, this is the worst thing. Whoever came up with this, I'm gonna fucking rip their throat out. It's horrible. But I got through that too. And aside from that, I got pretty much nothing to complain here. It's great. It was a lot of fun. Yeah, nothing more to add. I mean, Mega Man is a simple game. The jumping feels right, the shooting feels right. That is the most important thing. The presentation is simple but good. You got some nice intro sequence, some nice, simple Dr. Light and Wily history story stuff, which, is more than some of the other games had. Some good Japanese voice acting. I don't know how the English one fares. I had set it to Japanese. It's good stuff. I would have liked to maybe have a bit more Wily stages. We didn't have like these double and castle Wily stages since Mega Man 6, I think. But at least give me like maybe 3 to 4 Wily stages. And as it stands now, we only got like 2 real ones in this game. And it's like, okay, that's a bit that's a bit I don't know, cheap, guys. Maybe they were running out of time. I don't know. But the finish is a bit weak. But still overall, it's a really good Mega Man game. And I had a lot of fun with it. And I hope this isn't the end for another 10 years or something, or however long it was since Mega Man 10. And we're gonna get a new iteration soon, or at least sooner. And yeah, I enjoyed it a lot, and I hope this is the revival of one of my favorite video game characters of all time, and not just a one-off.
That's Mega, man.
Yeah.
It rocks, man.
Well, I hope they wait another 10 years to make another Mega Man game, because
Why do you hate me?
I just don't want to hear you talk about Mega Man anymore. But
I kept it short. Shut up! I kept it short. I kept it shorter than Netflix stuff.
I'm joking.
If it's free on PS Plus, then I will try it out. But I probably wouldn't buy it or anything.
You'll probably hate it.
I wouldn't buy a Mega Man game because actually Mega Man is one of those games I don't really have that much of a history with. As I've talked with Human Metal before, the only Mega Man game I've ever really loved and finished is Mega Man X on the Super Nintendo. Which, don't get me wrong, Mega Man X is fucking great. It's great. Mm-hmm. But
you know what? They're probably gonna make a game of the new Mega Man TV show instead of Mega Man 12.
Yeah, I wonder.
It's going to look just like that Street Fighter game that they made. The Street Fighter game they made of the movie. With the digitized like Jean Van Damme and Kylie Minogue.
The thing is, the TV show was in development for a long time, the new one, and the game had a much shorter development time, so they could have already done that with this game. So I kind of feel like they're not going to do that.
They probably don't. It's like completely different audiences. So why would you do that?
Think that just making a Mega Man TV show is just like a really bad idea?
No, I think it's a good idea if you just stick to the formula, but they always try to change it.
As a kid, I actually watched some episodes of that Mega Man 1 where it's like the one where he's like a normal kid, and then like he has Mega Man as like a computer virus thingy. You remember that?
No, that's a new show.
No.
You mean the Battle Network
yes,
show?
That one.
Yes.
It's basically Yu-Gi-Oh or something like that. Only
that's a mix of Yu-Gi-Oh and Pokemon kind of.
I remember Captain N from when I was a kid. Mega Man was one of the characters in Captain N.
Yeah,
and Mother Brain from fucking Metroid was the main bad guy.
Yeah.
That was
didn't have much in common with their actual game characters.
No, not
just
really,
like everything in Captain N, like Simon Belmont being like this fucking prick. I
actually also played those Mega Man Battle Network games as well.
Yeah. But yeah, I think if you do it right, if you stick to the formula and put some actual story in there, which the Mega Man games don't really have, or not a lot anyway, you could make a good TV show. I think so, but they haven't really tried to do that. They always try to put their own spin on it, and it sucked. So I think the Battle Network series is still the best incarnation of that in its original form. They already, again, changed that for the US release and changed story stuff for that, as they do. But yeah.
I guess if the Proto Men can make like a 2-album rock opus out of Mega Man, I guess a TV show could probably do the same thing. Because damn, those Proto Men albums aren't bad; they're pretty great.
Yep.
But did anybody hear that Netflix is making the Zelda TV show as well? Damn.
It's in planning anyway, and by the same guy who is producing the Castlevania show, which we haven't talked about yet. I haven't finished that the second season of that either yet.
I haven't even started the second season yet.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, let's keep that for next time. But I heard it's really good, and I already liked the first season. So definitely, I can. The thing is, I already made that joke twice. So why not go 3 times? I can't wait if that comes to fruition. And Warren Ellis maybe does the script for that too. I can't wait to hear Link say.
Excuse me, princess.
No, that's what he's doing. I'm gonna fucking kill you, ass cannon, you motherfucking asshole, because that's how everyone talks in that Castlevania show. And if the Zelda show is like that, that's gonna be amazing. Link cursing his ass off.
Comic writer, they get Alan Moore to do it or something. It's even worse.
I'm a motherfucking hero of time, bitch. Yeah, that's still I'm interested. Like before the Castlevania series became what it was, I maybe would have been like, oh god, no. But the Castlevania series is good, at least from what I've seen from it now. And I'd like to see an interpretation by capable people. And if it's not only the same producer, but also some of the same animation team and everything, that's really important. Then yeah, that could turn out cool. I want to see. I want to see some screens. I want to see some video material, and then I'll make my decision if I want to watch it or not.
Right, yeah. I guess it could be good. I mean, who knows? Stranger things have happened. Stranger Things literally has happened. 2 seasons of it. It's awesome.
Indeed. Twice.
Yeah. Brack, what is last on your list, my son?
Last on my list is Yakuza 0. And it's a good time to talk about Yakuza because they're just giving away the...
Hold on. I just want to clarify. You are not my son, but carry on.
No, it's a good time to talk about Yakuza because they're giving away Kiwami 1, I think, through PS Plus. And which is cool because that's one of the few I haven't played yet, so I might try that one out as well at some point. But not for a while, because after playing Yakuza, I always need a big-ass break because it gets a little bit repetitive after a while. But Yakuza 0 is definitely the best one of them, like easily. Like it has the best story, it has the most focus, it has like multiple combat styles, so like the fighting doesn't get too repetitive after a while. So yeah, and all the side missions are great, and just the way it's like steeped in like 80s culture and stuff like that, it just works really well with the story of Yakuza. Do you agree, Choo Choo? Have you played it? You've played it, I know. But what do you think about it?
Well, it was my game of the year last year, Brack. That was... I loved it. I thought it was fucking amazing. But the thing is, like you were talking about Kiwami and stuff. Honestly, I can't really recommend Kiwami very much because it's a bit of a step down from Yakuza 0. I think Yakuza 0 is quite a significant step up in quality from the other Yakuza games. So I would rank Yakuza 5 in second place in my opinion, but I just feel like Yakuza 0 just got that X element just right. It just managed to nail everything that was good about the Yakuza series. And yeah, just I can't really explain it, but the pacing was right, the combat mechanics were right, the story was right, the graphics were right, the kind of variety in things that you could do was just right. Everything was right about that game. Even the length was right, because I felt like Yakuza games are like seriously long, sometimes like seriously over long, but I thought Yakuza 0 just hit the sweet spot where it was long, but it wasn't that long. It wasn't like overkill.
Yeah, I really actually like that it's not 4 characters this time, because especially the last one I played, I think it was 5. That was probably the weakest one I've played, and it's just like it was super slow, and like every time you have to change characters, like they have to repeat the story. Like they have to redo story a lot of the time, and like I got really bored of that after a while. And also one thing I like, which I think not every game, but some more games should do, is that they have like after every character change, they have like less time on Yakuza, and it's like, oh, this is a good time for a break. Like this is a good time to put the game away for like to play some other games and then get back to it like a few weeks later. So yeah, that's what I like a lot about Yakuza as well.
I don't agree with you about Yakuza 5, obviously, but I would equate Yakuza 0 to rock albums. You know, you have like a band you like or whatever, and they're going along in their career, and they're releasing, you know, albums of various.
And this is the best stuff.
Yeah, qualities or whatever, and then suddenly the band releases this album, which is obviously them at peak form. Obviously, you know, and it's like, you know, the critics go crazy for it, and, you know, the fans go, oh man, this is like the best album ever, whatever. That's what Yakuza 0 is for the Yakuza series. It's like the Yakuza series are like this band, like, you know, this game series that's like has its bit ups and downs, but it's kind of like it's moving in the middle. You know, it's kind of like moving in a kind of a nice area of mediocrity. Unlike Solo, which moves in a very nasty area of mediocrity, but it's kind of like moving in a nice area of mediocrity, and it has its hardcore cult fans, and then bang, you have this classic that just erupts out of the ether, and it's just brilliant. That's what Yakuza 0 is. It's far and away by far the best Yakuza game. I mean, obviously, just as soon as you play it, and you know, you finish it, whatever, perfect length, perfect characters, perfect story. It's just got everything right. And then you go to Kiwami, the next game in the series, which is a remake of the first one. It's just like it's back in that kind of level of, you know, nice mediocrity. But the thing is, because Yakuza 0 is so good, when you play Kiwami, it's like, damn, you know, fuck this game.
Coming down from the high.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you told me that you started Yakuza Kiwami right after finishing 0, right? Like,
yeah,
like,
exactly.
I'm gonna get right into it. I'm loving this so much, and then it's like a cold glass of water thrown in your face.
Exactly. It's like it's a real come down. It's like, oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah, you know, Yakuza is like this kind of like mediocre sort of franchise that I personally love, but I overlook its faults because I love it. And Yakuza 0 basically eliminated the majority of those faults and pretty much had this like perfect gameplay experience, and then it's back to like, you know, usual for Yakuza Kiwami. So yeah, definitely without question, Yakuza 0 is easily the best Yakuza game so far.
All right.
And I would say I hope they go forward with the formula of Yakuza 0, but they're basically putting to bed the Yakuza franchise, which maybe is probably a good idea because, you know, those characters have kind of reached their logical conclusion, haven't they? And now
I haven't played the last one yet.
They're kind of going with a splintering group of different franchises based on the Yakuza.
Oh yeah, Judge's Eyes. That looked interesting though.
Yeah, it does look interesting. That's exactly it. And it's probably I hope they continue the quality of Yakuza 0 going forward. But yeah, Yakuza 0, just to recap, was literally my game of the year last year. It was fantastic, brilliant, loved it. But far and away the best Yakuza game, no question.
I still haven't gotten into the series. Obviously, I'm gonna have Kiwami now because of PlayStation Plus, but I'm still waiting for Yakuza 0 to get to the sweet spot price on Amazon, and I'm gonna hit the buy button. But it still hasn't reached that. So, but then yeah, I definitely want to play 0 at least. I haven't had any experience with the series so far, which apparently is a crime. So there you go.
Yeah, that is a crime. But the thing is, if you start with 0, Human Metal, there's nowhere else to go. Like, if you start with 0, it's just you're on a slide going down.
I've heard multiple times that 0 is the best point of entry.
Yeah, but you can also just play 0. Like, there's nothing like, oh man, you have to play 0, you have to play Kiwami 1 to 5, whatever. You can just like, you don't need to play everything of the franchise to enjoy it. That's more my point.
Yeah, but I think for Human Metal, 0 might be quite a powerful thing for Human Metal, I think, during it, because of his love of like JRPGs and stuff. I think 0 might be quite a powerful thing for Human Metal, more powerful than you and I brag. So he might want to play 1 through 5, and then he's going to have a nasty experience trying to have his way.
Maybe you'll just wait and just play Judge Eyes or whatever it's called.
Yeah,
I'm definitely gonna check on Judges because just the way the story is, it looks like a more interesting Ace Attorney It looks like Ace Attorney with a fucking fighting game mixed in there. I'm like, okay, sure. Phoenix Wright is packing now. I don't mind. Let's go.
Human Metal should be paid by Sega because just that sentence.
They can't cross-promote it that way because Ace Attorney is a Capcom game. So otherwise they would probably done that.
Ace Attorney with a fighting system in there.
I actually can imagine a side story in the new in Judge Eyes that's about a Ace Attorney type character or something.
Oh please!
It looks cool. It looks like what we've seen from the trailer. It looks just like Yakuza with a fucking judge character and investigating shit and
a little bit more serious.
Taking itself super seriously, but also not the Yakuza way.
All right, someone should make that right now. A lawyer who, a prosecutor who, prosecutes people in court. But then when he can't get the conviction, he just goes and beats the shit out of them instead.
I thought we were talking about something else before we started talking about Daredevil, but...
Yeah, that's basically right. But Daredevil mostly defends people, doesn't he? Yeah, he's a...
No, not the last season. He goes after Fist.
Yeah,
he's going after him because he couldn't get after him with the law, so he's going after him with his fists. It's literally what you're trying
Murdock
to
is dead.
But before we get to that, we have to go through my top pick of the last month or so, which is Jesus Christ. So I'm going to talk about The Haunting. I'm going to say this very carefully. The Haunting of Hill House.
Hill House Haunting?
The Haunting of Hill House. So I need to say that very carefully because pretty much every second time I say that word, I say The Haunting of House Hill. So The Haunting, I tell you what, new drinking game. Every time I say The Haunting of House Hill, you need to take a shot of something.
No.
Yeah. So The Haunting of House Hill, The Haunting of Hill House is brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. I'm not talking about the usual levels of brilliant. I'm talking about iconic on a whole different level of awesomeness than usual TV shows. I'm talking about you take the horror in the same way that Game of Thrones made pretty much every fantasy film series redundant. The Haunting of Hill House has made every horror property redundant. Any ghost story in any film ever has just had his ass just kicked, seriously booted by The Haunting of Hill House. So much so that Stephen King.
Is the house on a hill or is the hill a house?
You know what? I don't know why they call it. It's called Hill House, Brack, because the family that owned it was called the Hills. It was their family name. But no, it has no connection to any physical hills. That's a cheap ploy to get you to drink some bourbon there. Although if you want to drink some bourbon, just go ahead. I'm not stopping you. I'll drink some bourbon right now. But yeah, so Stephen King, who is very tetchy when it comes towards film adaptations and TV adaptations and stuff himself, because the original book, because the Haunting of Hill House was
based on a Stephen King book.
No, based on a book by Shirley Jackson, but it's one of Stephen King's favorite books. It was written in 1928, so it's a really old book, and it has another movie based on it called The Haunting.
59, by the way.
Okay, whatever Bragg says. With Liam Neeson and Owen Wilson.
Oh shit!
Yeah,
that's the same story.
Kind of, yeah, but
that was a horrible movie.
It was a horrible movie, although it was a little scary to be fair. But but that was based on that, but that was a bad version of it. And it's completely changed as well, because even the premise is different. The Netflix has taken the bones of the book and twisted it into something different. It's nothing like the movie at all. But there are elements of it. When I was first watching, I didn't know the connection, but there were certain elements of the TV show that were a bit like The Haunting. And I thought, oh, this reminds me of that movie, The Haunting, a little bit. And then I was like, that's why, because it's based on the same source material, but they're completely different things. Like,
so they changed this. The story is completely changed as well.
Yes, completely. Like the original, The Haunting, for example, was about Liam Neeson conducting some kind of fear experiment, right? But that's nothing. That's the series is about a family who grew up in this house and tragic things happened to them and then fucked up their adult lives. And then, inevitably at the end, they're going to have to go back to the house as adults because they were children when these things happened. And then at the end, they're going to have to go back and face their fears and inevitably return to this house. I'm literally getting goosebumps as I'm talking about it. That's how badass it is. So no, they're not connected at all. So please forget what I said about The Haunting, just because that was shit. And this is one of the best horror things of all time. So Stephen King came out and said that book is one of Stephen King's favorite books of all time. And he came out and was saying directly, this is amazing. I don't care for TV series or movies based on horror properties or horror books or whatever, but this was incredible. I loved it. And I think the author of the original book would be really proud of this. Although he added the caveat, but I can't say for sure because she's dead. So like I say, it's just kicked the ass of every horror property that ever existed because it's a TV show, right? It's got 10 episodes to delve into the characters or whatever. So it basically deals with these. How many children are there? Yeah, there are 5 children that grew up.
See, that's too many. In a horror movie, it's probably going to end with a lot less children by the end of it.
Right. Okay, but there are 5 children who grew up in this house, and a mother and a father, and they basically they buy this house. Parents buy this house with the wanting to renovate it and then sell it on for a decent price, and then bad things happen in that house, when they're kids. And then these 5 children, they grow up and they're each sort of affected by either. That's the thing about the show. It's not just about ghosts as in physical ghosts. It's also about personal demons and regrets. So kind of one of the messages is ghosts can take all kinds of shapes, not just actual ghosts, but things that you regret in your past and stuff like that as well. Those are a different type of ghosts. Things that decisions that you made that just haunt you now as adults, you just can't get over. So it's got a sort of a deeper level than just malicious ghosts and shit like that, although it has those too. So it's really clever, and the way that the show is set up is that you've got the 5 children, and you got the mother and the father. So each of the first 7 episodes deals with an individual character and shows events from that character's perspective, both as a child and as an adult. And there's a big mystery about what's going on in that house, what happened in that house, and little by little the details are sort of unraveled for you. So it's a big mystery about what happened, and it's done sort of with flashbacks to the past and what's happening in the future, but the way it's done is genius. Little by little, as you discover more about these characters, because each episode deals with one character at a time, you really get to know those characters quite deeply and their experiences, and little by little piece by piece, like a puzzle, things start just falling into place. And inevitably, of course, this pretty much from the beginning of, it's not a spoiler or anything, that these characters are going to have to go back to their house and face the fear, face their demons or whatever. That's pretty much telegraphed throughout the entire fucking thing, and you want it to happen too, although you don't want it to happen because it's terrifying. And it's just absolutely, they just fucking nail it perfectly. I don't think it's a spoiler alert because it's in the first episode, but Jesus Christ, One thing I would say about that show is that it's terrifying. It's legitimately frightening. I mean, it's in the top three things. It's in the top three scariest things I've ever seen in my life. It is terrifying with a capital T. It's oh my God, if you want to watch something scary, this will fuck you up. Like I had nightmares. I'm not joking. I literally had nightmares for a week straight after watching
Jump scares or really good build-up atmosphere
Both.
horror?
It's
Okay.
jump scares to die for. It has jump scares up the ass. When the jump scares come, they are really, really well-deserved jump scares. And you know, they are ones that literally make you jump out your fucking skin. But the best thing about it is that you watch the entire thing with a puckered asshole. Like you're basically holding on to your fucking like chair seat. Like, what do you just want to kind of watch it through fingers? Like there are times. So I did when I realized how brilliant this show was, I was like, this is one of those shows that needs the lights off, the lights down. So I turned the lights off, but it was so scary. It's like, I can turn the lights off, but yes, I am going to go and retrieve the cat, like to sit on my lap during it, because it was legit frightening. Yeah, so it's got perfect build up, and it's not just that, but the characters are so deep and so well formed that you genuinely care for them, and it's got that kind of like that personal element. I mean, if you say to anybody who's ever seen that show, Nelly's in the Red Room, they're immediately going to get like prickles down their arms and shit like that. It's super scary. And for about a week straight, you know, like I had difficulty sleeping because when I would go to bed, I would start sort of thinking about scenes from that show, and it would start playing into my mind, and I'd be like, maybe I should sleep with the light on. You know, it was genuinely frightening, which is brilliant. I love being frightened.
As a disclaimer, we should probably say that you're easily scared.
No, I'm not. That's not true. That's the thing. Like I can watch like movies like It and like The Conjuring and whatever. Nothing.
You said you wouldn't try. I would die if I would play Alien Isolation with a VR headset on because it's so fucking scary.
Have you done that?
No, but I doubt that is.
Well, you know, playing horror games in VR is really scary. I'm just saying.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure. But you said you were already scared out of your mind in normal play, and the game has never done that for me, so I wonder.
Yes, but this is well, you know, human metal obviously has a high tolerance, so what can I say? But
I want to see it though. What you say sounds very, very enticing, especially to me. I'm a big horror guy. I'm a big like scare thing guy. I like to turn off all the lights and then just immerse myself into the scary atmosphere, and then come out of it and be like, "Thank God I'm not in that universe."
Yeah.
So.
Oh, man, this I can't tell you how brilliant this was. This was one of okay. So for me, this was the best horror-related thing I've ever seen in my life. Like I'm gonna say it. Like
that's very high praise. You know what? I don't want to hear anything else about it. I'm gonna watch it at some point in the future, which is not now because I'm too scared to watch any horror movies.
But it's also one of those things that, like, how can I explain? It's like you're focused on the main characters, but sometimes if you're paying attention, you'll see something in the background that's really fucking frightening. Like I only because I've watched it twice now. That's how much I loved it. Like I watched it one time and it's just like it blew my mind, scared the shit out of me. I watched it a second time. I started watching it a second time. I haven't quite finished it. I'm like halfway through the season now, again. But like the second time you watch it as well, you start to see things that you didn't see before. Like, you know, some characters will be talking in a certain scene, and then you notice there's someone fucking behind them in the corner. Like you didn't see that the first time, but man, when you see it the second time, it's like, yeah.
Shouldn't have told me that. Now I'm gonna look out for that.
Yeah, you definitely should, because it's scary as fuck when you see him as well. But it's not just that. It's like I can't really explain it. It's like some of the details that they have. Like, you know, there's little things in it. You know, like you know, in one scene, statues will be looking in one way. and the characters will be talking, and the camera will cut between the characters, and you'll notice if you're paying attention the statues have moved and they're looking at different directions and stuff like that. It's like it's got this intense creepiness to it.
Okay.
It's just
All right.
absolutely brilliant.
Cool.
Go watch it. It's brilliant. Beyond thinking. Like
I'm gonna start.
Yeah.
Yes.
No,
you want say one more thing.
I would say, easily, no question, it is the best TV show I've watched this year. Like, without question. I think it will go down for me as one of the best TV shows I ever watched in my life. It is brilliant. There you go. You can't get higher praise than that.
I'm gonna start watching it because I'm on sick leave, obviously, immediately after I finished the thing that we're gonna talk about next and lastly. And that is Daredevil Season 3.
All right.
And, yeah, so I haven't watched the last 3 episodes of that yet.
All right, I still have 2 episodes to go, so I'm
So yeah,
behind,
we're pretty
I have
close to each
finished
other there. Chuchu has finished it, so he can talk about the ending in broad strokes, or if it
or
stays,
just not talk about the ending at all.
or not talk about it.
He can talk some more feelings.
You can say if it stays as good as the rest of the season was.
Yes, I will say now, officially, I'll talk about the ending now just because, just to get it out the way so I don't have to approach it later in the conversation. I will say the ending is fucking badass. That's all I'm going to say.
Good. That's all I want to know. Yeah, Daredevil Season 3. It's funny how, obviously, they were trying to go back to the success they had with Season 1. Like, in every fucking way possible. It's like, okay, Daredevil costume, fuck that. Stupid ninja villains, fuck that. We're going back to the Kingpin. you want your fucking corridor... You want your fucking corridor fights? Okay, we'll get back to that. You don't want Elektra? Fuck her.
We gotta have even more corridors.
We got even more corridors in here. Some of them are even in prisons. No, it's it's so fucking obviously even fucking what is happening in terms of plot. They're anything. The only thing they're not doing is saying outright, here, like us again. We can do this. It's so funny to me. It's like, Jesus Christ, guys. I didn't hate Season 2 that much. The Punisher stuff was good. And it resulted in a great show. So there you go. But yeah, this is definitely a return to form, if you liked the first season but didn't like Season 2 and the stuff in Defenders. This is back to basics. Daredevil, he's beating up people. And the Kingpin is back with his machinations and everything. And we get some new characters in there. I don't want to know... how much I should give away in terms of what new character and
one of
main
them is
antagonist
in the trailer, so you can just talk about.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, okay. Spoiler alert. So Bullseye is in this kinda, and he is used by Wilson Fisk at some point, obviously, and trying to frame Daredevil for shit. And it's the most interesting interpretation of Bullseye I've seen so far. It's like they really put a lot of effort into establishing that character, making him really creepy and really cool. Also in terms of fighting prowess, like the shit he does with, his ability to hit everything with smart. It's ridiculous and it's funny, considering what stuff he uses to throw, but it's also badass as fuck. It's like, okay, here, talking about Jackie Chan ass shit before in Iron Fist, this is taking that to the max. It's like, there's something in your vicinity that you can throw. He will throw it at your fucking face. And it's funny as hell sometimes because it's coming out of nowhere. And there's some generally amazing fights in this season from what I've seen so far. I hope there will be another big one in the final 3 episodes or something. I imagine there will be. But man, they're, the ones that have been in there so far, even that he was not part of them, were great. But when he was part of it, it's just like, holy shit. The camera work, the choreography, everything that show does with its fighting is amazing. It's really good stuff. And the character work is great too. We get some more insight into Karen, which she, I think, desperately needed. We get some more insight into Matt's history, like his origin and everything. That's also interesting. And yeah, it's just, man, it's a really great season so far. And apparently, according to Chuchu, it's gonna finish strong as well. You know, the Kingpin, we don't have to say anything about Vincent D'Onofrio's portrayal of the Kingpin. It's the best portrayal of that character, period, without a doubt. And it's probably, if not the best Marvel villain, he's in top 3, movies included. Like, he's just perfect. The way he portrays that character, he becomes that character, is just, he's just fantastic in every way possible. The gravitas he brings to the role, the threatening, the menacing atmosphere, it's all is there. And you always have to be afraid that he's has a plan for everything. And and he's not sympathetic by nature because he's a crime lord asshole, but you can always understand where he is coming from, and it's because it feels so genuine that he's doing what he's doing for the person he cares about, because they've established that so well in the first season. It always feels justified in one way, at least when it comes to the character, and that's very important. That is what makes him so believable, relatable in a way, and such a competent, interesting villain. And you always, like, sitting there, he's the bad guy. I kind of want to see him succeed in some part. I want to see him come together with his loved one again and stuff like that. God damn it!
Although in the third season, because I finished the season, definitely, I think by the end of the season, he has made I'm not going to go too far, but I think he crosses the line, I think, at some point, and he does become, I think during the first season, I agree with you completely. During the first season, like at the end, I sort of like there was a part of me that really wanted him to get away at the end of the first season of Daredevil, but he didn't. But like I really, there was a big part of me that was like, yeah, come on, man, just get out of there, just go. But there is some point in the second season where he just really sort of, he needs to go down in the second one. Okay, I think.
Okay, I'm looking forward to seeing more. I'm probably gonna finish it up tonight. But I'm really happy with this season. Goddamn, if this is the swan song of Daredevil, because that show is gonna get cancelled after this season as well. Really? Who knows? Yeah, who knows? Just nobody like I said, knows, but nobody knows.
There's one season, like I can imagine that Iron Fist season 2 and Luke Cage season 2 didn't do that well. But like Daredevil is definitely the A tier of their characters. Like.
It was the first and it's gonna be the last. The question is, well, it's not gonna be the last of Jessica Jones, if this is the last season. We'll see. Yeah, then we might get another season of that. It all depends. We don't know how the contracts work with Marvel, with Disney and everything. And if maybe they were like, you can only keep one of those shows, and then they had to decide, definitely Daredevil, or 2, and then Daredevil and Jessica Jones. They were just
they're making Punisher season 2 as well. So
sweet. That's great to hear. Great to hear. So we don't know what's gonna happen. We'll see. They will announce it eventually. I mean, the announcement of canceling Iron Fist and Luke Cage came pretty quickly after those previous seasons wrapped up. So if they're gonna cancel Daredevil, it's probably gonna be announced pretty quickly soon. So if that doesn't happen, maybe we'll get another season. But this one is fantastic return to form. I did not completely hate season 2. It's kind of it kind of feels like the creators of the show are like, oh man, we tried to do something from the comics, but the fans didn't like it, so we're going back to this.
I don't think that was I don't think that was really a reaction to Daredevil season 2. I think that was more the Defenders.
Yeah.
No, it began in Daredevil season 2.
I like Daredevil season 2 actually. I didn't even have a problem with the ninjas. Like I feel like afterwards, Daredevil season 2 became worse because the bad guy of Daredevil season 2 was also in Iron Fist, and like they took away all the mystery and all the excitement of those enemies, those villains away with Iron Fist and Defender. So it makes Daredevil season 2 look worse in retrospect.
The problem for me was like, and that's what they seem to be saying, like, judging from how the Netflix shows are set up, it's like this very realistic approach to all the superhero stuff. And, having super ninjas in there and some, ancient weapon turned human form with Elektra and everything and some cult around it, is like a supernatural element that they feel that a lot of people are saying, that doesn't match, and it feels like the creators are saying, okay, we tried to do that, but apparently it didn't work with our universe, and the fans didn't like it, so we're not going to do that. No, that's not the reason why Defenders was bad, why the back half of season 2 of Daredevil maybe was a bit lackluster. The problem is that the writing for some of those characters wasn't strong, the way you approach some of that material wasn't good, and that doesn't have anything to do with the supernatural or comic booky things
Elements.
in itself. Elements itself. That's the way how you approach them, how you adapted them, and that's the problem. There was a problem for me. I thought Elektra was a bad interpretation of that character. She was not that well written. I also thought not that well acted, in my opinion. I didn't like the way the actress did her job in that part that much, and I just think in season 2 for Daredevil, it was just like coming from this huge high that were the first 4 episodes with the Punisher, which were excellent. Some of the best Daredevil stuff out there, even suppressing some of season 3 and season 1 definitely. I just loved that part of season 2, and then going into the Hand and Elektra stuff just felt like a bit of a decline. The Punisher scenes in that part of the show were still great.
Oh yeah.
But, the other stuff, and then Defenders was all that, including with Iron Fist. And it was just like, no, you haven't figured it out, guys. That's not how you approach that material. And that was the problem with it, in my opinion. Not inherently bad in itself, but yeah.
Man, the whole scene, the scene in Daredevil season 2 with Fisk and the Punisher, that was
Aces.
gold.
Yeah, that was gold.
Aces,
True.
Fantastic stuff. Like I said, good stuff in season 2. It's just they didn't really know apparently how to approach and how to do the more supernatural and crazy stuff, and how to give these characters believable motives and everything, apparently, and that's why it didn't work. And, it shows they're so afraid of using superpowers for the characters that go anything beyond super strong and super good at fighting. And that's it. Not putting the fucking pyrotechnic technic powers in Typhoid Mary in...
But that costs money.
yeah, but it's not only that. I think I don't think they know how to approach that and make that believable.
Fire powers using CGI is really hard. Like fire in general with CGI is really difficult and really expensive. So it makes sense.
But to be fair, especially for fire, they don't need to do all that with CG. You get a good pyrotechnician, and you can do a lot of that stuff with actual fire stuff, and that's probably cheaper. I don't know. I'm not a film expert in that regard, a production expert, but, you could have done something with that. And maybe they were trying to keep that for season 3, I don't know. But, yeah.
So pulling the episode back to season 3 of Daredevil, damn! Again, minor spoiler alert for Daredevil, early Daredevil, so you two don't need to worry. But damn, what about that episode in the fucking prison with that continuous shot? That doesn't
let up.
Yeah, that doesn't.
Yeah,
that
it's really
stop.
amazing. Yeah, it's like the action this season is just great. Like I really like the prison fight scene, but also everything with Bullseye. I really like the times that Bullseye and Daredevil have a fight, and it you can see the tactics where Daredevil tries to get in close and Bullseye tries to keep a distance, and you can actually see the thinking going on while the fighting is happening, and it just has a really really exciting pace to it.
I like that little scene where in the office he slides under through the table, a Bullseye, or in the church where he presses his foot against the church bench to get away from the Daredevil, stuff like that was really good. Okay, I see what you're doing.
Yeah, it was
smart choreography.
It was really great, and one of the things I really loved about that, which you guys have to look forward to, is that it concludes in the best way possible, and it absolutely delivers in the action stakes of just giving you a climax that you just as soon as you see it coming, you're just yes, I want that. And it just
clenched fist bumped into the air.
It absolutely delivers a fantastic final climactic battle action set piece that just has you flipping out.
like just flipping off the walls. It's so cool. It's so badass, and just like it's just a payoff for just watching that entire series. So it ends on a high. It ends on like an unforgettable battle sequence, which I'm not going to ruin or describe here. But it ends fantastically. Just you couldn't ask. I remember thinking to myself when it finished. You literally couldn't ask any more than what it gave you at the end.
Okay.
Like that final battle sequence was absolutely everything you could have ever asked for from that. It's brilliant. So there you go. Good stuff to look forward to. So if you haven't seen
Yeah, watch Daredevil season 3, everyone.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Go watch it.
If you haven't seen Daredevil 3, season 3, go watch it. And hey, with that, we've come to the end of this week's Visit to the Ocean Floor. So that's what we've been doing recently with our time. If you want to tell us what you've been doing recently with our time, please, no fisting, no dildos. Dildos are kind of acceptable. But hell, if you want to tell us what you've been doing with your time recently, please, drop us a comment. Or don't. No one ever does. No one listens to this podcast. We know it. You know it. But hell, hey, please join us next time. You get all your money stolen by a maniacal tuk-tuk driver.